Assalamu Alaykum. Before I begin to explain Surat Al-Fatihah, I want to clarify some points I made in my first video and that will help us to understand together what's next inshallah ta'ala. And finally, this series is brought to you in association with FreeQuranEducation. A quick reminder from the last lesson. I'll refer to any noun, pronoun or adjective listed under ism by this red color, and to any verb listed under fi'l by this blue color, and finally to any particle or preposition listed under harf by this green color. Today's lesson I'm going to introduce a golden rule that everyone should know before advancing in learning Arabic and reading Quran. And to get to this golden rule, we have to go through three phases. The first one, al, the definite article. Second one, sonar and lunar letters. And finally, the hamza which attached, connects or joins. Let's start ala barakatillahi ta'ala. Nouns in English and in Arabic have many similarities between them. One of them is the indefinite noun or ism nakira. The indefinite noun is a noun refers to a non-specific entity. T-shirt here is an indefinite noun. If you want to definite this noun, you simply add the before it. So you say, I'm gonna buy the t-shirt. Arabic has exactly the same definite article that you put it before a noun. The same previous sentence in Arabic is سأشتري قميص. The word قميص here means t-shirt. In Arabic, nouns by nature are indefinite. So how can we make them definite? We simply add alif plus lam in the first of the noun. سأشتري القميص. See? So simple. Without al in the first, the noun is indefinite. With al in the first, the noun is definite. Here are some examples. Muslim, al-Muslim. دولة الدولة. We call this al by al-Ta'rif. It is a particle or harf, and you will never find this al stands alone like the English the. It should always be prefixed to another noun. But if you notice the examples that I gave you, al-Muslim and al-Dawla. In the first noun we pronounced the full al, but in the second one we pronounced only the alif of al and we skipped the lam. We can divide Arabic letters into two parts. First part are those which we pronounce the whole al if it is prefixed them. We call them lunar letters, al-huruf al-qamariyah. And the second are those which we don't pronounce the lam of al if it is prefixed them. We call them solar letters, al-huruf al-shamsiyah. Those letters have no relation with the sun and the moon. We call them by those names because the word qamar, which means moon, starts with a letter that belongs to the first section, and the word shams, which means sun, starts with a letter that belongs to the second section. Let's try to add al to some nouns start by lunar letters to verify our theory. Hayat, al-hayat. Maut, al-maut. Hawa, al-hawa. We here pronounce the whole al. Let's try with the sonar letters. Naum, an-naum. Daw, ad-daw. Rahim, ar-rahim. Here we only pronounce the first letter of al, that is alif, and we skip the lam to pronounce directly the sonar letter. But pay attention, we must pronounce the sonar letter after al with some pressure. Means we have to put shadda above it. I will put nouns that starts with different letters from both sections and let you practice the pronunciation at your own. If all the nouns are pronounced correctly, you have passed the pronunciation test for Arabic. Next, how can we deal with al amid the sentence? We were able to know that al is an extra tool added at the beginning of a noun, and it is not from its original letters. That is why we have to treat it differently. Here I have two situations. Al is prefixed to a noun at the beginning of the phrase, and al is prefixed to a noun at the mid of the phrase. For the first situation, things are easy. We are just going to put fatha above alif to pronounce the whole noun normally with either the full al or the alif skipping lam. Depends on the first letter of the noun, I mean sonar or lunar. For the second situation, when al is prefixed to a noun at the mid of the phrase, we shouldn't pronounce the first alif, and we have to get past it to pronounce the letter after it, either lam in the lunar letter case or the first letter of the noun in the sonar letter case. And we call this alif in al by the hamza which connects, or hamzat wasl in Arabic. So instead of putting fatha above it, we put this diacritic, and it means literally just ignore me. So whenever you see this diacritic above a letter, just ignore that letter. Finally, that takes us to the most important question in this lesson. If we have to ignore this alif of al in the mid of a phrase, why we don't ignore it in the first of a phrase and we pronounce it normally? And the answer will lead us directly to our golden rule. Our golden rule says any Arabic phrase can start with a sukun and can't finish with a short vowel. That means every Arabic phrase should necessarily start with a short vowel and necessarily finishes with a sukun. So if we ignore the alif in al in the first of a phrase, we're gonna unfortunately break our golden rule and we would be forced to pronounce the lam which there is a sukun above it, or even the letter that comes after, the one which has a shadda above it. And remember, shadda is a combination of two letters. The first has a sukun above it and the second has any other short vowel. Let's apply all what we learned today on our basmala. We don't read Bismi Allah Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahimi, but we read Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Even the kasra in the last letter of the verse should turn to a sukun. Our lesson will end here. In the next episode, we will apply what we learned in this lesson and in the previous lesson on Surat Al-Fatihah, inshallah ta'ala. See you next time.